This video is on Unit 1, Chapter 1, Lesson number 2 on order of operations. In your guided notes on the left, you have some steps for order of operations. Just as a quick review, your order of operations, step number 1 is a G. You're probably used to it being a P for parentheses, but order of operations, step number 1, actually is all grouping symbols, not just parentheses. You've got parentheses, brackets, braces, and a fraction bar. I do want to add one, which is your absolute value marks. And absolute value marks, if you'll remember, makes the result of the inside positive because it represents distance. Step number 2 in order of operations is exponents and roots. So you might be squaring something, cubing something, you might be cube rooting or square rooting something. So exponents as well as roots is step number 2. Step number 3 is multiplication and division, moving left to right in the problem. Just like we read, we do math. The 4th step is addition and subtraction, again, moving left to right in the problem. So looking at example number 1, 29 minus 11 minus 2 cubed plus 6 squared divided by 4. Order of operations is going to tell us to do the inside of the parentheses. So inside the parentheses, your order of operations is going to start all over. You're going to cube the 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Again, cube means that you take that number times itself that many times. So 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. And then I'm going to continue inside the parentheses. 11 minus 8 is 3. And now that we've gotten rid of the grouping symbols, we can move on to step number 2, which is exponents or roots. 6 squared is 36. The 3rd step is multiplication and division, moving left to right. So we're going to take care of the 36 divided by 4. 36 divided by 4 is 9. And then we can take care of our last step, finally, addition and subtraction, again, moving left to right in the problem. 29 minus 3 is 26. And 26 plus 9 is 35 for my answer. Real quick, I do want to show you that you can use the calculator to do this. If I just put that problem in the calculator exactly the way it looks. So that was 29 minus parentheses 11 minus 2 cubed. To make the cube, you use the up arrow above the divide sign. And there's my cube. I do have to arrow to the right to come out of that exponent to make that right parentheses. Plus 6 squared is over on the left side of the calculator, divided by 4. Now the calculator is going to follow those rules of order operations to give you the same exact answer that we came up with when we worked it out by hand. The next one that I want to look at with you is number 3. It has a big fraction bar. And the way you work this by hand is you work the top independently of the bottom, and then your last step is division. So working in the top, we've got grouping symbols, parentheses, as well as absolute value. So this one's going to be interesting. In the top, I've got 7 minus parentheses, the absolute value of 10 minus 12. So that's going to be 10 minus 12 is a negative 2. So absolute value of negative 2. And then in the denominator, I can do my order of operations in the bottom at the same time that I'm doing the order of operations in the top. 9 minus 2 squared, I can go ahead and take care of the exponent. So 2 squared is 4. All right, I'm going to go back to the numerator, taking care of my grouping symbols. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2. Plus, I can go ahead and do the 5 squared, which is 25. And then in the denominator, 9 minus 4 is a 5. I'm still working on my grouping symbols in the numerator. 2 plus 25 is 27. So 7 minus 27 over the 5. Going back to the numerator, 7 minus 27 is a negative 20. Divided by 5 is a negative 4. And I'll show you that real quick, putting it into the calculator. If you have a graphing calculator, alpha y equal brings up a menu that is your fraction menu. And I'm going to hit enter. And the nice thing about this is the top is the top. It looks like a regular fraction. The bottom's the bottom. So in the top, I'm going to make this look just like it does in the problem. Absolute value marks, if you don't know where that is in the graphing calculator, if you hit alpha window, it's number 1. So I got the absolute value. And I can do the 10 minus 12, arrow to the right to come outside of that, plus 5 squared. And then I need to close those parentheses. And then I'm going to arrow down to get into the denominator. 9 minus 2 squared. And it should tell me that my answer is negative 4. And sure enough, it says negative 4. So that's how you put that into the graphing calculator. And I would encourage you to do that. I encourage you to use the graphing calculator as often as possible. I'm going to work through number 5. Number 5, those are brackets. It's kind of hard to see, but this is a bracket. This is not absolute value. It's a bracket, so it's a grouping symbol. Okay. Inside of that, I've got 15 minus parentheses, absolute value of negative 6 plus 2, plus the square root of 9, close parentheses, close bracket. All that's going to get squared. And the denominator, I got 3 minus 3 cubed. All right, so in the numerator, this 15 is going to stay. I'm working inside the parentheses, and inside the parentheses, I'm going to take care of my absolute value and my square root all at the same time. So I've got the negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. So don't forget your absolute value marks there, because that's kind of a game changer. If you just put negative 4 and forget to bring in those absolute value, you're not done with those absolute value marks yet. 3 cubed, 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. All right, going back to the numerator, I'm still working on the inside of that parentheses. Absolute value of negative 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. And 3 minus 27 is a negative 24. All right, let's keep going here. I've already said that 4 plus 3 is 7, and I'm quickly running out of room. So inside here, I've got 15 minus 7, and that's going to be squared over the negative 24. 15 minus 7 is 8, and 8 squared is 64 over negative 24. Now, that does not divide evenly. And for those of you that don't like fractions, I'm going to show you a quick way to take care of this. 64, I'm going to go back to that alpha y equal, bring up that fraction, put the 64 in the top, the negative 24 in the denominator, and it's going to reduce that for me. It's negative 8/3. So negative 8/3 is my answer to example number 5. The next section is still going to be using your order of operations. Still using order of operations, we're going to be evaluating these expressions. So what we want to do is we want to substitute. It says to evaluate each expression, giving the variable replacements. So you're just going to plug in the numbers and then still use your order of operations. A is 3, so this is going to be 3 times B is -4. Make sure that you put parentheses. And then C is 8 plus the 12. So here again, the main thing that we're focusing on is once you get the number substituted, it becomes just like the other examples we've done so far. The numerator, I'm going to square the -4. -4 times -4 is positive 16. In the denominator, 8 plus 12 is 20. And then I want to take care of the 3 times 16. 3 times 16 is 48. This does not divide evenly. So again, I would encourage you, use your calculator, put it in so that you can reduce it. When you reduce it, you should get 12/5. All right, moving on to the next set of examples. 9, 10, 11, and 12 are similar to the others. You plug in, you substitute the numbers in, use your order of operations, okay, on all of those. I'm going to jump down to simplifying expressions. I'm going to work with you with these examples. The directions here say to simplify each expression below by distributing and or combining like terms. So the main thing that you have to remember about like terms is that we are only allowed to add or subtract like terms. We can only add or subtract like terms. So I can't add a 16x plus a 10y. Okay? It doesn't work that way. Example number 15 says 16x minus 11 minus 7x plus 10. I can combine the x's. The other thing that I want to make sure I say to you is that you always look left of the number so that you know what sign is associated with that. So that is a negative 7x or a minus 7x. You can look at it either way, but not both. So 16 minus 7 is a 9x. And then I can also combine my negative 11 plus 10. Negative 11 plus 10 is a negative 1. So I'm going to write minus 1. And my answer there is 9x minus 1. Number 17, I've got 6 times c minus 2 minus 8c plus 1. A common mistake here a lot of students will make is when you have a minus in front of a parentheses, I would encourage you to add that 1 and distribute the negative 1 that's really there. So I'm going to distribute here. 6 times c is 6c. 6 times a negative 2 is a negative 12. Negative 1 times 8c is a negative 8c. And a negative 1 times a positive 1 is a negative 1. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. 6c minus 8c is a negative 2c. Negative 12 minus 1 is a negative 13. And again, I cannot combine the negative 2c and the negative 13. That's my answer. Same thing is going to happen on number 19. I'm going to distribute the 3 through the parentheses that it's attached to and that negative 1 through the parentheses that it's attached to. 3 times 3a is 9a. 3 times negative 5b is negative 15b. Negative 1 times a is a negative a. Negative 1 times negative 7b is a positive 7b. And then I'm going to combine my like terms. 9a minus a is an 8a. Negative 15b plus 7b is a negative 8b. So your answer on this one is 8a minus 8b. So those are the notes that I have for you for order of operations. Again, in class, we will work on the homework or the assignment, not homework, the assignment page on order of operations independently and together.